Despite AEW's aggressively white male fan base, Jade Cargill has installed a baddie section. And if they connect with women the way I think they can, AEW is going to need more than just a section.
Hold up. It's a black-owned business in the wrestling business? Pro wrestling bits, let's go!
The Urban Dictionary defines the term baddie as a female who can hold her own and take care of herself. She's very pretty and independent. She a baddie. She don't take shit from nobody. A confident female. Normally, she'll be found on Instagram, eyebrows filled in darkly and posing in a badass position, dressed to impress. Her comment section will be loaded with queens and yas. A baddie is a girl who's super attractive. She slays whether she's wearing a tight dress or sweatpants. She has curves in all the right places. They have self-respect and they fight for what they believe in and likes having fun. A baddie is a bad girl who is always on fleek, slaying the game. Most of the time, these baddies grew up being bullied or lacking confidence. Now they have the confidence to be themselves and do what they dreamed of doing all this time. The baddie section isn't the stable that TikTok wants, it's the stable that TikTok needs. Get it, girl? By the way, did somebody say something about black baddies being bullied and overcoming it? Well, I wouldn't know anything about that. Oh yeah, I do. I did a video about it here. These definitions are great and all, but me personally, I define baddies as black women finna take over a white man's industry. That's where all that bullying kicks in, because Jade Cargill and the baddies section are very foreign to this industry. I can prove this with one simple Google search. If you type in black women in AEW, Google comes back with common questions asked about the product, including who is the black girl in AEW? Singular. Oh, hey, one of the top search results is that video I did about black women in pro wrestling, because it's not like this wrestling media is champing at the bit to talk about black women, and that's part of the problem. The eclectic, feminine, and fierce energy that Jade Cargill and the baddies bring is a polar opposite to the type of audience the average person thinks of when they think about wrestling fans, especially the hardcore wrestling fans that AEW caters to with events like the Second City Sausage Fest out in Chicago. By the way, cue up that joke about the Forbidden Door. Let's run that back. The only forbidden door at this show is going to be the door to the women's bathroom, because that's just going to be empty. Okay, here comes the best part. Hold on. What's going to be more empty? The women's bathroom at the Forbidden Door or the Jacksonville Jaguars trophy case? I love it. If AEW hardcores were a person, it would be Millhouse. Shout out to him. But the baddies section can change all that, and I pray to Beyonce they will. AEW has legit grown its company by being the super indie that NXT was circa 2016. NXT was able to sell out arenas doing this, by the way, and AEW has become a very viable company in its own right by booking one internet wrestling vanity project after another for a small but passionate fan base. As a lifelong wrestling fan, I love some of the indie wrestling comfort food that AEW offers up on a weekly basis, but all opinions are nuanced, and as a black man who loves and covers wrestling, AEW's murderer's row of little white wrestlers on TV gets boring after a while. When it comes to the ultra-white zeitgeist that is hardcore wrestling fans, Tony Khan seems to be a little too loyal to that fan base, and though AEW has grown its company by doing right by the hardcores, that type of growth has a ceiling. Just ask NXT, which saw its hardcore fan bubble burst after trying to out-indie AEW in a wrestling war and failing miserably. NXT's super indie formula was such a bust against AEW, WWE moved away from it entirely and is now trying to rebuild NXT 2.0 from scratch with NIL athletes. Whether hardcore fans want to admit it or not, the NIL is the wave of the future. Over time, there will be more super athletes in pro wrestling, as well as more inroads for elite black athletes that simply weren't there when the current era of pro wrestlers were coming up. Jade Cargill is essentially an NIL athlete in AEW, and a great example of that. A college athlete, somebody who did not have experience in the pro wrestling business a year and a half ago and has made such great strides and has been wrestling on TV for just over a year with one of the most impressive records in this sport. Those aren't my words. The Tony Khans. The Wednesday Night War was loaded with internet darlings, but light on audience. Throughout the internet wrestling war, NXT averaged 785,000 viewers in 2019 and 699,000 viewers through their final Wednesday night show in 2020. Dynamite averaged 903,000 viewers in 2019 and 811,000 viewers in 2020. They were essentially fighting over the same audience, which is a smaller following of hardcore wrestling fans that has only gained more of a voice because of the amount of casuals who are bored out of this industry. That's what happens when you have one too many tope con helos and not enough relatable stories, characters, and moments. In 2021, Dynamite rebounded with 892,000 viewers. It's a higher number than last year, which was affected by the pandemic, but AEW seems to have settled into a ceiling of about 1 million loyal viewers thirsty for professional wrestling. As for the rest of the world, they just want to be entertained. And that's not always going to happen with AEW's brand of inside baseball and Easter eggs. Sometimes AEW comes off as more of a pro wrestling speakeasy than a pro wrestling show. AEW's push of Jade Cargill has come with pushback of Cargill being green and not ready for this moment. All because she's never taken a bump inside an ROH ring or rolled around with Zack Sabre Jr. Okay, you had your turn last week. Jade Cargill is the antithesis of professional wrestling's predominantly male, ultra-white zeitgeist that AEW empowers, some of whom have the N-word in their back pocket and aren't afraid to use it. Of course, there are toxic wrestling fans who don't have the N-word in their back pocket, but that's probably because they're too broke to afford pants. As the opposite of a hardcore wrestling fan base that desperately needs to evolve from 2005, AEW and Jade Cargill are doubling down with a whole baddies section. Scores of beautiful, thick black women cheering on the biggest television star on the AEW roster, and the longer Jade Cargill remains undefeated, the more quality TV time these baddies should get. AEW's budding trios division has given us the Blackpool Combat Club with no black people, the Kings of the Black Throne with no black kings, the Best Friends with no black friends. Give me the baddies section and the black girl magic that comes with it, because it's about damn time. Hell, even their ops are making this promotion blacker. AEW Rampage saw the baddies take on Sky Blue, Willow Nightingale, and black indie wrestling goat Trish Adora, who was featured in this list of 2021's blackest things in wrestling. There's a lot of uncertainty with this WarnerMedia Discovery merger. Literally nobody knows what any of this means for AEW's future under WarnerMedia. Executives are already axing scripted programming and chopping billions of dollars off the budget. I don't know what these executives are thinking, but the outside world, where all of these executives come from, has always had a bad taste in its mouth about pro wrestling. The more AEW comes off as a vanity project for niche fans of professional wrestling, the less likely these executives will be excited about the product and its future. If AEW can show that it has a product that can attract people outside of pro wrestling, this will bode well for the ratings, quality advertisers, and most importantly, it's more likely to win over WarnerMedia Discovery executives during an uncertain time. The baddies section can give AEW something it has never even come close to having: a stable of strong black women. The baddie section could be like Toxic Attraction, but with more seasoning and lemon pepper. Toxic affirmative action, if you will. If wrestling ever wants to be mainstream again and diversify its fan base, it needs more black people and it needs more women who can consistently follow the product. The baddie section check both of those boxes, and it'll be up to AEW to tell compelling stories, preferably about the black experience, through this promising stable, all of whom have been named April's Black Wrestlers of the Month. Will the baddie section be more than just a section in AEW? Are you here for all this black girl magic? Let me know in the comments.